Today I'm out on a control mission to check out this pre-cut that was made last year in the fall, and this is medium-aged pines with a lot of birch, extremely much birch. So we cut everything below 8 centimeters chest high this fall. So now I'm just gonna walk the perimeters to see how many hectares this was. And this is not protected, but everything around here, up on that ridge, up on the ridge over there, and the ridge over there is protected. So no forestry machines or deforestation can be done there. Nothing, not even a stick. But this is between those protected areas, so they want to make this into a plantation. And there is some plantation up further ahead, and we have some plantation up on the hillside that we need to cut. That's normal plantation brush cutting and sorting. So this, you can see, it's been heavy machinery in here for, that's about, I don't know, 20 to 40 years ago in different missions. Here you have probably a winter road. They cut these winter roads at some places and fill in some small streams, and then when they come out on the wetlands, they press the snow and they can drive trucks on the snow and ice. I don't think they do that anymore. We tend to keep away from the wetlands altogether. Sometimes you make winter roads, but that's extreme. At least where I'm at right now. We have good ordinary roads. So you can see the birch forest, and then very far between the pines. So this might have been cut sometime long ago and then neglected, I guess. The birch up here at this altitude is quite old when you get to sizes like that. You can see it's just it's hard to see on the old stump, but you can see the wings. It's not so big, it's quite dense, and that indicates slow growth. We want fast growth and the right kind of tree. So probably in a couple of years this will be cut and planted with probably pines, because the pines is growing here now and looking good. And as you see, we have wet areas down there, and the plantation is going to be kept on the dry highland. So that's good. We don't want to mess with the wet areas. That's just big problems, and it doesn't grow any trees. You can hear the stream down there. This is the most remote area we have. There's no cellular reception. I have a radio with me, but yeah, I got 2 points, so I have reception on the radio. You can see the old birch trees are starting to disappear into the ground, and this is only not quite a year old, so that's going to fertilize the soil and enhance growth in everything else that stands around it. So even if we cut the birch away from here, we are going to leave the side slopes with birch. So even if we have a pine plantation up here on the flat high ground, the steep slopes down to the wetlands will be kept as it is. That's also a kind of care for wetlands and whatnot down there. And we use this as the plantation ground. That's high and dry. And that's a smart way to manage the land and go with nature. Because if you fight nature, then you have a big problem on your hand. If it's dry now, it's going to stay dry later. Pine doesn't grow very well in wet areas. This is probably, I don't know, 15-20 years before somebody does anything to this again with machinery. That's my guess. This was kind of a side project for us. And because everything that's on the high ground is protected, you need to show that you take care of the other areas, because if you leave this too long, then this could also be considered valuable for preserving for nature, and that's well, that's both good and bad, I guess. But we need to keep the areas where we can plant trees for tree planting, or else our area where we can put plantation shrinks, and it shrinks every year. And yes, I know we cut down a lot too, yes, but if we follow the rules, then it wouldn't be a problem. It's those that don't follow the rules that is a problem, like always. And that's what I like about this customer, because he has a smart way of dealing with this, in my opinion anyway. We can and are allowed to show nature care if it's not competing with the plantation trees. And as I have said earlier in the videos, if we are smart, we can at least gain time by doing that, if we are smart, and not that we end up being caught in trying to cut something that is supposed to just be left alone, like the slopes you see here. the guys haven't gone down there because they know that's a waste of time. It doesn't hurt anything down there, not much anyhow. But it's better to leave it. We don't have any business down there. This is what we are after. And I promise you, even if this is going to be a plantation, he is going to leave birch spread out over the plantation too, because it's starting to sink in that we cannot just have one species, and we can't just have pines and spruce. We need to implement leaf trees as well. And up here we don't have as much species. We rarely see sallow up here, and that's because the animals eat them as soon as they get up. We have stopped cutting them all together at any level. That's for the animals to take care of. That's also a tip to gain time. Just leave it. The animals will take care of them. And then you get leaf control for free. That's a good thing. So I'm just walking the perimeter where I see the stumps, and on this side I know there is no stumps, and it's the slope down to the, oh, there you can see the stream down there. I wonder if this is an old logging road. No, yes it is. I think. Thought it was cut. It looks like this side has been cut, and then you have a crossing over there. This could be hundreds, at least 100 years old, 150 maybe. And in that case this is for horse, but they had manpower to dig out. You can almost see this. I'm just guessing now. You have a cut there, and then they dump the fills out on this side. And then you have these typical flat areas just by the creek. And this hasn't been cleaned, actually. Most of our streams have been cleaned by also the forest companies to float the timber downstreams. But this is actually natural. I don't think that was a crossing, or it might be an old winter road that's carrying on this way. You can walk through here. Now here you see the different vegetation. I don't know the English name for these at the top of my head. Dead stumps. You have spruces standing on stilts, and it almost looks as this is cut, but I don't think so. That maybe it might be the stream after the glacier went away. And you have fungus and lichen, all sorts of goodies. So this is going to be left like this. And this isn't protected. It's protected by the stream and what you're supposed to do. But most likely a problem on the slope to cut these trees down. They're not so good for sawmills anyhow. And here you see the guys have been cutting the thinner birch. It's nice to get out like this sometimes, do something else, not just battling away with the saw. And we're involved in this process from plantation to pre-cuts and then post cuts if we need to go in and clean before plowing. It's not plowing, but I don't have a better word for it. They are up here now with the machines, and I thought I would find them, but I didn't. They're driving some big Canadian tiger cats. In the 70s, 60s and 70s, then they plowed. They had bulldozers with real plows on and made almost as a meter deep ditches. That's not how this is done anymore. They just scratch the surface to get some gravel up in the open where they can plant the trees. There you have a dead tree, and you see the guys has stopped cutting up there. Good. Good, good, good. Well, this feels quite large area to cut when I'm walking here, but consider that that hill is protected and that's way bigger, and the other side also way bigger, and then we have the mountains in the north that's also protected. If you can see that mountainside, that's quite steep. It's no problem cutting it with machinery, but I'm walking away from the roads. So further and further away I get, the harder it is to bring the lumber out. So that's why it's better and more efficient to leave that as protected. So when you add up all the bits, the transportation, steepness, and the forest that grows. They're getting higher and higher up. The forest gets more and more bad from a sawmill perspective. So you can see that's a good 50 meters double shotgun range, a little less to the stream, so no machinery is going down there. I saw some small rowans growing down there too. And blueberries. Now I'm competing with the bears. I hope I don't stumble upon one. And there's gonna be a wrestling game. The mosquitoes are out. Giving us some of the good stuff. Now I see the forest might be changing. That looks like an old plantation. This is so far away that the plantation's been neglected for decades. So when we come here, we had to get into them. So let's see how they turned out. So now we are actually through the pre-cut. I'm not walking in the pre-cut anymore. It's 25 meters on my 8 o'clock. And this is the plantation. You can see this isn't growing very good. Here you have some loose damage. Oh, it's old. This isn't much of a forest or plantation. So that's a spruce forest speckled with leaf trees. all the way on the up to that ridge line, and then it's actually over the forest limit. So the forest reach up on that crest, and then 2 more crests, and then it's no forest. And it's just bare lands and wetlands. Lågfjäll, as we call them in Swedish. So here the plantation ends, and no more tree cut. Actually, this, if I'm at the right spot now, this is actually protected. So this plantation is the borderline between forestry industry and nature protection. It isn't growing that good. And you can see that the guys hasn't cut that many trees down. It's not them who have made the spaces between the trees so large. That's natural. Some mysterious reason. Maybe because we are so high, or it's the wrong type of plants. This has actually been cut before, but the Swedish government protected everything up here for a couple of years ago. More or less took out a ruler and a pen and just put a line on the map. Well, that never went bad for anyone.